Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles. I want to welcome you guys to the conversation. So today I want to talk about my man Kawhi Leonard. He's all over the news. And what I want to talk about is that should the Toronto Raptors retire Kawhi Leonard's jersey ASAP? That's what I want to get into this video about. So you all know Kawhi Leonard just recently made his return to the Raptors for the first time to actually go pick up his championship ring after helping them bring them their first title in franchise history. It was a momentous occasion to see how the fans were really classy and how the Canadians received him. It was a really nice sight to see and how they, just appreciated everything that he did for that organization and taking them to heights where they'd never been before. So it was a really special thing, and I think that year, him spending that year in Toronto was one of those feel-good stories that we really haven't had in a long time, considering the backdrop of what was happening before he got to the Toronto Raptors, then what transpired afterwards and what's happening now and how they received him and gave him a warm welcome. And I think that's a really great thing. So the question I really want to get into today is, should the Raptors be looking to retire Kawhi Leonard's jersey? And I think it's a really good question to look at. So prior to Kawhi Leonard going to play for the Toronto Raptors, the most successful Raptor, meaning the highest scoring Raptor in the history of that organization, had been DeMar DeRozan. Okay, DeMar DeRozan is a really good player. He's an all-star, but he's not on the level of Kawhi Leonard. And we had seen that number of times with the Raptors really having a strong regular season record. Then they would go against the playoffs, and LeBron would smack them pretty much every time they played. And the last season, the last time they were in the playoffs, going against LeBron with really no real all-star, just Kevin Love, and that was it, he gave it to them. They swept them out of the playoffs. And, you seldom see such capitulation on that level to see the team melt down the way that they did. And you have DeMar DeRozan, who is at the helm of your team captain, and he's there, and this is transpiring. So they had to make a decision. They had to. The question was, though, with them now bringing in Kawhi Leonard had just come off a year where he only played about 22 games, and no one really knew where he was. The year before that, he was amazing. He had established himself as at least a top 3 or 4 basketball player in the world. Some people had him as number 1. I did at least, but some people had KD, some people had LeBron. That's not the purpose of this argument. So they now acquired Kawhi Leonard last season, and they knew that he was coming off of an injury, and you knew that you're only going to be renting him for 1 year. We all know this, but it's the risk. It's the risk that Masai Ujiri took to be able to see if he could roll the dice and go to the NBA Finals, and that's exactly what he did. So he acquired Kawhi Leonard, and let's see the stats that he put up last season. Last season, he played 60 games, okay? In those 60 games, he played 34 minutes a game, averaged 26.6 points a game, which was a career high for him for offense. He shot 49.6% from the field, and put it in perspective, Kawhi Leonard is predominantly a mid-range player. So for him to be able to get that, to shoot that percentage from the floor is extremely efficient. He shot 37% from the three-point line. He shot 85.6% from the free throw line. He got you 7.3 rebounds, 3.3 assists, and 1.8 steals a game, right? He didn't put up the best numbers in the playoff in the regular season, but it was the playoffs where, everyone was looking to see, did Masai Ujiri's gamble pay off? And boy, did it pay off in a major way. So for the playoffs last season, Kawhi Leonard upped his minutes per game by 5 minutes, so he was playing 39.1 minutes a game. He shot 49% from the field in the playoffs. He shot 38% from the three-point line. He shot 88% from the free throw line. He averaged 9.1 rebounds a game, 3.9 assists, and 1.7 steals per game. And I mean, it was one of the most historic playoff runs that we had seen in a long time, where you have a player throughout the whole playoffs to average. He was the player that averaged the most points, most rebounds, and I think the most assists, but I might be wrong about that. Nevertheless, he had an historic run. We saw him go through the Orlando Magic, where we all knew they weren't any real major threat, although they lost that game and came back and won 4 straight. Then they went against the Philadelphia 76ers, took them to 7 games, hit the shot, heard all around the world with the buzzer beater, the only Game 7 buzzer beater to win the series in the history of the playoffs. Then went against the Greek Freak, who everyone was picking Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks to win that series. Kawhi Leonard, the Raptors lost the first 2 games. Raptors came back and beat them 4 straight. If that wasn't impressive enough, went to the finals, put on a show, and ended up bringing the Toronto Raptors their first championship trophy in the history of that organization. So, with all of those things that has transpired for Kawhi Leonard, now granted, he did leave. He didn't stay. It was a one and done. He came that 1 year, he delivered, and he didn't lead the city on. He didn't say, he didn't talk about it in the media. So he didn't dangle the carrot in front of him and say, hey guys, listen, I'm most likely, could stay behind. He didn't do anything. You didn't hear anything from him. And when he was making his decision, no one really knew. A lot of people were speculating, but no one really knew except Kawhi Leonard and his camp. And ultimately, he made his decision to go back home to go play with the Clippers with Paul George. So now looking back at everything that's happened, what I want to know from you guys is do you think that the Raptors should retire Kawhi Leonard's jersey as soon as possible, or they need to wait the next few years and see what happens? Maybe the Raptors may go on to win some titles, and Pascal Siakam may be the person that gets him there, and maybe Pascal should be the one to get his jersey retired. Because if you're talking about the Los Angeles Lakers, I don't think you can get your jersey retired winning 1 title. But in the situation of the Raptors, it's a really unique circumstance where this organization had never even made it to the finals before. And this guy was the guy that brought them there, did it, won that title for them in that first year and walked away from it all, and sort of left this sort of lure to his legend in Canada. So in my opinion, I think they should. But what I want to know from you guys is, do you think they should, or you think they need to pump the brakes, wait some years, let some time go on before they consider doing something like that? Once again, if you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell to be notified when all of our content comes out. Once again, this is Charles here from DreamersPro. Wishing you guys an amazing day. Peace.